Hello and welcome to Curated Classics, the channel that shares the most famous and popular stories from books, films, and history in quick summaries, so that you can learn the classics quickly without hours of reading or years of expensive courses. Today you are listening to Anna Karenina, a novel written by Leo Tolstoy, first published in 1878. The novel is set in Russia during the late 19th century and explores themes such as love, infidelity, and the role of women in society. The main character, Anna Karenina, is a married aristocrat who falls in love with the handsome and charming Count Vronsky. Anna's affair with Vronsky puts her in conflict with the social norms of her time, and she is ostracized by her high society friends and family. Meanwhile, another storyline follows the relationship between the socially awkward and intellectual Levin and Kitty, a young woman who initially rejects him in favor of Vronsky, but later realizes her true feelings for Levin. As the novel progresses, Anna's relationship with Vronsky becomes more intense, and she eventually leaves her husband and young son to be with him. However, their happiness is short-lived and Anna becomes consumed by jealousy and paranoia. The novel ultimately ends tragically, with Anna taking her own life by throwing herself under a train. Meanwhile, Levin and Kitty find happiness in their marriage and the birth of their child. Through the lives of its characters, Anna Karenina explores the consequences of breaking social norms and the role of love and morality in human relationships. It also critiques the aristocratic society of Tolstoy's time and raises questions about the nature of happiness and the meaning of life. For a more in-depth understanding of the book, we will now provide a chapter-by-chapter breakdown. Part 1 of Anna Karenina introduces the main characters and sets the stage for the rest of the novel. The opening chapter begins with the famous line, "All happy families are alike, each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way," and goes on to introduce the Oblonsky family, who are experiencing marital difficulties. Steva Oblonsky, the head of the family, has been unfaithful to his wife Dolly, and the novel follows their attempts to reconcile. Meanwhile, Steva's sister Anna Karenina arrives in Moscow from St. Petersburg to help with the situation. Anna is beautiful, charming, and quickly becomes the center of attention in Moscow high society. Anna meets the dashing Count Vronsky at a train station, and the two are immediately attracted to each other. They continue to encounter each other at various social events, and their flirtation becomes more intense. Meanwhile, Anna's husband, Alexei Karenin, is a respected government official who is oblivious to his wife's feelings for Vronsky. The rest of Part 1 of the novel follows the various social events attended by the characters and explores the relationships between them. It also introduces the character of Levin, a wealthy landowner who is struggling with his own romantic feelings for Kitty Shtcherbatskaya, who is a friend of Dolly's. Overall, Part 1 sets the stage for the rest of the novel by introducing the main characters and their relationships, as well as the themes of love, infidelity, and the constraints of society. Part 2 focuses primarily on the developing romance between Anna Karenina and Count Vronsky. Anna is torn between her love for Vronsky and her duty to her husband and son. Vronsky is similarly torn, as he is drawn to Anna but also feels pressure to fulfill his duties as a military officer. Anna and Vronsky's relationship becomes more intense, and they begin to openly flirt with each other at social events. Karenin begins to suspect that his wife is having an affair, but he is reluctant to confront her directly. Meanwhile, Levin continues to struggle with his own feelings for Kitty, who is still enamored with Vronsky. The novel also explores the theme of societal expectations, as Anna is criticized and ostracized by her high society friends for her behavior. Vronsky faces similar pressure from his military colleagues, who see his relationship with Anna as a distraction from his duties. Towards the end of Part 2, Anna and Vronsky finally give in to their passions and consummate their relationship. This marks a turning point in the novel, as Anna's affair becomes more public and her reputation is irreversibly damaged. Part 3 of Anna Karenina continues to follow the developing relationships between the novel's main characters, particularly Anna and Vronsky, as their affair becomes more intense and public. Anna's husband, Karenin, discovers the truth about his wife's infidelity and confronts her. He initially considers forgiving her and allowing her to continue her affair with Vronsky, but ultimately decides to seek a divorce. The scandalous affair becomes a topic of gossip and speculation in high society, and Anna becomes increasingly isolated and ostracized. Meanwhile, Levin continues to struggle with his feelings for Kitty, who has rejected him in favor of Vronsky. Levin turns to his work on his estate for solace, and the novel explores themes of rural life and the relationship between man and nature. Part 3 of Anna Karenina deepens the novel's exploration of its major themes and sets the stage for the later events of the novel, including the tragic consequences of Anna and Vronsky's affair. The novel also introduces new characters and settings, expanding its scope beyond the confines of high society to explore the wider issues facing Russia at the time. Part 4 explores the consequences of Anna and Vronsky's affair, as the novel enters its tragic and tumultuous second half. Anna and Vronsky leave Russia and travel to Italy, where they hope to start a new life together. However, their relationship begins to falter, and Anna becomes increasingly jealous and paranoid about Vronsky's behavior. Vronsky, meanwhile, begins to regret his decision to abandon his military career for Anna, as he struggles to find purpose in his life. The novel also follows Levin's continuing struggles with his own personal and philosophical questions. He becomes increasingly involved in his work on his estate, and in his relationships with the peasants who work there, finding meaning and fulfillment in the hard work of farming. Meanwhile, Kitty has a change of heart and realizes that she truly loves Levin, not Vronsky. The two become engaged and begin planning their wedding, marking a contrast with Anna and Vronsky's troubled relationship. This part marks a turning point in the novel, as the tragic consequences of Anna and Vronsky's affair become increasingly clear. The novel also continues to explore its major themes, including the conflicts between love and duty, personal desire and societal expectations, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. Part 5 focuses primarily on Anna's deteriorating mental state as she becomes increasingly consumed by jealousy and paranoia. Her relationship with Vronsky continues to deteriorate, and she becomes convinced that he is having an affair with a young woman they meet in Italy. Anna and Vronsky return to Russia, and their relationship becomes increasingly strained. Anna's husband, Karin, refuses to grant her a divorce, and she becomes increasingly isolated and alienated from society. Her mental and emotional state continues to deteriorate, and she becomes increasingly obsessed with the idea that Vronsky is cheating on her. Meanwhile, Levin and Kitty are married and begin their life together. Levin struggles to balance his work on the estate with his obligations as a husband and father, and the novel explores the challenges and joys of married life. Overall, Part 5 of Anna Karenina marks a dark and tragic turn in the novel, as Anna's mental and emotional state deteriorates and her relationship with Vronsky becomes increasingly toxic. The novel also continues to explore its major themes, including the conflicts between love and duty, personal desire and societal expectations, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. Part 6 explores the tragic consequences of Anna and Vronsky's relationship as it comes to a devastating conclusion. Anna's mental and emotional state continues to deteriorate as she becomes increasingly convinced of Vronsky's infidelity. She confronts him and becomes increasingly unstable, leading to a public scene at a party that cements her reputation as a scandalous and unstable woman. Meanwhile, Levin continues to grapple with his own personal and philosophical questions. He becomes involved in political activism and struggles with the question of how to balance his work on the estate with his obligations to society. As Anna's mental and emotional state continues to unravel, she becomes increasingly suicidal. In a final act of desperation, she throws herself in front of a train and dies. The novel also explores the aftermath of Anna's death, as Vronsky becomes consumed by guilt and Levin continues to grapple with his own personal demons. The novel concludes with Levin's realization that the answer to the question of the meaning of life lies in the simple joys of family, work, and nature. Overall, Part 6 of Anna Karenina is a tragic and emotionally charged section of the novel, as the consequences of Anna and Vronsky's relationship come to a devastating conclusion. The novel also continues to explore its major themes, including the conflicts between love and duty, personal desire and societal expectations, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. Part 7 follows the aftermath of Anna's death and the ways in which the other characters in the novel are impacted by her tragic end. Vronsky is consumed by guilt and despair, and he struggles to find meaning and purpose in his life without Anna. He becomes involved in political activism, hoping to find some kind of redemption for his actions. Meanwhile, Levin continues to grapple with his own personal demons and the question of the meaning of life. He becomes increasingly focused on his work on the estate and on his relationship with his family, finding solace and fulfillment in the simple joys of everyday life. The novel also explores the social and political issues of the time, as Levin becomes involved in political activism and works to improve the lives of the peasants on his estate. The novel also delves deeper into the theme of religion and morality, as Levin continues to question his faith and his place in the world. The novel concludes with Levin's realization that the answer to the question of the meaning of life lies in the simple joys of family, work, and nature. The final chapter of the novel is a meditation on the beauty of life and the inevitability of death, as Levin comes to a place of acceptance and peace. Overall, this part is a poignant and introspective section of the novel, as the characters grapple with the aftermath of Anna's death and come to their own conclusions about the meaning of life. The novel also continues to explore its major themes, including the conflicts between love and duty, personal desire and societal expectations, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. Part 8 is a brief epilogue that provides closure for the novel's major characters and themes. The section begins with the birth of Levin and Kitty's third child, a joyful occasion that highlights the novel's emphasis on the importance of family and the simple joys of everyday life. The novel also explores the continuing themes of religion and morality, as Levin continues to question his faith and his place in the world. He finds solace in the teachings of the Russian Orthodox Church and in the contemplation of the natural world. The novel concludes with a meditation on the inevitability of death and the beauty of life. Levin reflects on the joys and sorrows of his life, and the novel ends with a sense of acceptance and peace. Overall, Part 8 of Anna Karenina provides a satisfying conclusion to the novel's major themes and characters, bringing closure to the tragic story of Anna and Vronsky while celebrating the simple joys of family, work, and nature. The moral of Anna Karenina is a complex one that explores themes of love, infidelity, societal expectations, and the search for meaning and purpose in life. One possible moral of the story is that the pursuit of personal desire and happiness can have tragic consequences if it comes at the expense of social and moral obligations. Anna and Vronsky's affair ultimately leads to Anna's tragic end, highlighting the dangers of defying societal norms and expectations. The novel also explores the role of religion and morality in human life, suggesting that a life lived in accordance with one's faith and morals can provide a sense of meaning and purpose. Levin's spiritual journey throughout the book reflects this theme, as he grapples with questions of faith and morality, and ultimately finds peace in his relationship with his family and his work on the estate. Thanks for listening to Curated Classics. If you enjoyed this story and it provided valuable insights, we hope you will give this video a like by clicking the thumbs up, sharing it with other lifelong learners, and please check out more of the greatest stories throughout history on the Curated Classics channel. See you next time.